Hey everyone, welcome back to the Thundertron podcast. So today I'm going to be discussing and giving my thoughts on all the Transformers Tuesday reveals. There's actually quite a few more than I was expecting. The first one I'm going to talk about was really all I was expecting to happen today. I was like, okay, I'm going to buy this one, and that's it. But there's actually quite a few more they posted that I was really surprised by. I'll talk about those in just a sec. So the first one definitely is not the interesting of the bunch, but I'm going to probably talk about it pretty quick, and I'll probably take a bit longer on the other ones because they're definitely the more interesting of the bunch. But please leave all your thoughts on these figures in the comment section below. Which ones will you be picking up and which ones will you be passing on? So the first one probably only actually apply to a certain group, a certain set of people who maybe missed out on these figures before. So the first one is the Transformers Legacy Evolution Senticon Menasor Multipack. So they pretty much just took all the retail releases, all the Senticons from their retail mainline releases, and put them in one pack with some brand new paint apps, and I'm pretty sure some brand new tooling. I don't think every figure has new tooling, but I think there is some certain small areas with some new tooling. It's very hard to tell, especially because I don't actually have this in hand, and it actually has been a little while since I've actually picked up those mainline Senticons. I should probably take a look at those in a little bit. They're pretty good figures. So maybe if you missed on Dead Ends, you have a perfect chance to get out, but some people probably, I think, maybe missed on all 5 of these figures. So if you missed on all of them, you actually have a really good chance right now. I do want to get into the details. There's actually some important things I do need to say. So the price is $190. The release date is September 4th. This is also a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, so you will not be able to get this anywhere else. To be honest, I know this is like a gift set type thing, but they probably should have made this an exclusive. Maybe they could have put this also like on Amazon, like they could have had it like a partnership exclusive, you know, like the Toxitron collection that was on Walmart and Hasbro, or maybe they could have done like an Amazon exclusive where it's on Amazon on Hasbro Pulse, because, you know, the point of this gift set was to pretty much make it easier for people to get these figures, because even the mainline releases were hard. It was actually hard for me. I was able to get all 5, but it was not easy, I will tell you that. Several of them I actually had to get on eBay because I could not find them in person or on Hasbro or Amazon or like, you know, Big Bad Toy Store, so it was not easy to get those mainline releases. So really the point of the gift set was to make it easier for people to get them. I think that was their main goal, also of course to make money, but they probably shouldn't have made this a Hasbro Pulse exclusive because it's probably one of the hardest exclusives there is. I'm hoping, of course, every person who missed out on those figures gets a chance right now to get it. If you are wondering about the price, like, is this worth it? Is this you know, adding up to make sense? What's 4 deluxes, you know, $25 each, so that's about $100, and there's a commander class which is $90, so it's pretty much exactly what it should be. And I'm pretty sure there's a few like new tooling and new accessories, so I think in the long run it's probably about where it should be, which frankly I'm surprised, because a couple years back they actually did do a box set of Devastator for Studio Series from Revenge of the Fallen. You know, a lot of people wanted the individual releases and a lot of people weren't able to get them, so the box set was a good alternative, but I think it was like over $50 more than it should be. So I was really expecting the same thing to happen with this, but that is not the case. I'm actually really glad. So I do have this ordered at the moment, but I'm not actually entirely sure if I'm going to keep this. Truth be told, because again, I do have the mainline releases. I am somewhat of a completionist. I do like this pack. They actually have the more kind of cartoon genuine accurate colors, which I probably prefer these decos over the other one. But in the long run, I might cancel this because it's pretty expensive. Also, of course, there's going to be a new HasLab soon. So in the end, would I choose the HasLab over this? Of course, any day, any day. So, you know, just my quick thoughts. Of course, I'm not going to go through every single figure because I've already reviewed the mainline ones, you know, and there's not a ton of new stuff. So I'm pretty sure Breakdown does come with a brand new alternate head sculpt. I think that's really the only major change. I'm pretty sure all the other 4 figures have the same molding, same accessories, just of course brand new paint apps. That's from what I can tell. I really will only be able to do a proper, you know, similarities and differences once I actually get this pack in hand, if I ever do get it in hand. But you know, so far no one's actually got it in hand, and Hasbro's really never came out and said what the differences are. So it's a bit of kind of a guessing and waiting game right now. But yeah, I mean, if you do have any of these releases mainline-wise, you kind of know what to expect with these figures. I think overall, most of the mainline Stunticons, if you're wondering if you missed out on the mainline ones and you're wondering or debating getting this pack, I thought they were actually pretty good. I do think probably Breakdown and Wild Rider were probably the worst of the bunch. Motor Master or Menasor, Drag Strip, and Dead End were actually really solid releases. People do give Dead End quite a bit of slack. I actually thought he was pretty good. He's probably, I would say, definitely in the middle. You know, if I hard to rank him. He probably is, like, you know, in the middle between the two. He's somewhat good, somewhat bad, but I wouldn't call him a bad figure. People are calling him a bad figure. Nowhere near that. I think Wild Rider and Breakdown aren't bad figures either. It's just, I think there's a lot of potential for a new mold, but they actually went the cheap route, you know, and did a repaint and retool of each other. That being said, I think probably of the two, I think Breakdown is the better repaint of, you know, Wild Rider and Breakdown. I just think the potential for a new mold was extreme, considering it's been so long since we actually got Stunticons. The last ones we got were the Combiner Wars, and those Stunticons were garbage. I used to own them; they were horrible figures. So it's been, you know, it's been so long. I think it's been like 7 or 6 years. So it really seems like we waited a long time just to get like a repaint. I think that was a bit disappointing. That being said, even though Breakdown and Wild Rider are repaints, they're 1,000 times better than their Combiner Wars releases. That's really all I'm going to say on this pack. I just want to let you guys know, in case you missed out on those mainline releases, I want you to know how these figures are. In the long run, I do highly recommend this pack, especially because it's not overpriced. I was really expecting this pack to be priced, you know, $200 plus, but it's pretty much exactly what it should be. In the end, yes, you know, some of the figures do have problems, but I think it's a much better option than the Combiner Wars release. It's a huge improvement over that past Combiner. So I do highly recommend it. So getting into the other figures that we were actually not really expecting to happen today, they actually did post Legacy Evolution Wave 4. So for the Deluxes, I'm actually going to kind of skip on and not go into much detail, because I actually do have the Deluxes in hand. If you're thinking they're like stolen copies, that's not the case. I got them from eBay from a legitimate seller. They were, of course, not stolen copies. They were in hand, you know, in package. They weren't, you know, like samples or prototypes. They were finished. So I will have those reviews up on my channel very soon. I actually did just finish Bombshell's review, so his review should be up probably on the channel this week at some points, probably towards the end. So I probably won't go into much detail with these figures, because then again, I already do have them in hand, so I really don't want to spoil all my thoughts on them right now. But I guess I will give, somewhat of a spoiler, you know, because most people probably don't have these in hand, and the release dates are October, so I kind of do somewhat want to let you guys know what to expect with these figures, just in case you're wondering. But I am going to start off with the Voyagers. We actually do have Voyager, Bludgeon. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on all these figures, because we actually had these revealed, you know, pipeline revealed. They were also at San Diego Comic-Con, so I wouldn't say these are like the biggest surprises. You know, we kind of knew these were happening. It was really just a matter of when and, you know, what time and how they were going to be released. But Bludgeon is a Voyager. He's just a repaint, redeco of Tarn, which Tarn is probably one of the best Voyagers I have in my collection, so definitely going to get this. And I think Bludgeon is probably one of my favorite Decepticons, like, period. Probably one of, or if not, my favorites. Just love the entire skull design. To be honest, I think they probably should have done a new mold for this. Not saying, you know, Tarn is a bad mold. Like, yes, if I were to do a repaint of Tarn, if I had to have a repaint of Tarn, or Bludgeon, I would have picked the Tarn mold, yes. But in the end, considering it's been a long time since they made a Bludgeon, I think the last time Hasbro made a Bludgeon was when they released one for Revenge of the Fallen. So, to be honest, since it's been so long, I really think they should have done a brand new mold. That being said, it's a good mold they used. It just seems like a missed opportunity. I do love the sword they actually included. I think that's really cool. There's a brand new head sculpt. He also does include those two same blasters and that somewhat adapter connector piece that came with Tarn. And the transformation is most likely the same. The, you know, tank mode, pretty much the same. Articulation, probably the same, which was really good. And the main complaint that people had with Tarn is his feet, his hands kind of stuck out the back of the tank, which will most likely stay the same with this figure. But that's really all I'm going to say. Of course, the price is $35. The release date is October 1st, 2023. Right on par for a Voyager class figure. Moving on to the next Voyager, which is definitely the more interesting of the two. We actually have a Voyager class Junkion, which is Trash Master, which actually looks super cool. The price is $35. The release date is October 1st, 2023. I did purchase this one because this actually looks super cool. Some people actually think they're going to take this mold, this figure, and maybe retool it into a Wreck-Gar for the Transformers animated series. I think that'd be pretty cool. And apparently, I'm not sure if they're actually going to put this in the instructions. I kind of hope they do. But apparently, if you do get this figure, and if you have all the Junkions so far, so Axle Grease, Crash Bar, Scrap Hook, and so on, I think you can combine all of them and form like a, Junkosaurus, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that's like official, but one of the Hasbro people actually put it on their Instagram, on their socials of it. I'm not sure if they just made it up themselves or if it's like going to be an official mode. We really don't know, probably until we actually get this thing in hand. But it actually looks really cool. Of course, it does follow that same kind of, similar deco we've seen in the past with the kind of, dark brown, orange color. I do love all the spikes, the gunmetal gray. I do like the mismatched design with the hand. Like, one of them is a huge claw. One of them is really just a fist with a blaster. And yeah, it overall looks really cool. In a way, I could actually kind of somewhat maybe see this being an animated bulkhead as well, because the head actually somewhat resembles animated bulkheads. So maybe they'll actually retool this into that figure. Of course, it would require a ton of retooling, but I can actually somewhat see the base of an animated bulkhead. Maybe they could do that. His robot mode is actually, his vehicle mode is actually a kind of a pickup truck or kind of a garbage truck, which is pretty cool. I do love all the chain detailing and all the gunmetal gray and silver and the spikes. It just looks like a crazy vehicle and a crazy character. And his Evo Fusion gimmick is kind of what we've seen in the past, where you can pretty much, rip them apart and attach them to the past Junkions. So you could take them apart, attach them to Crash Bar, Axle Grease, Scrap Hook, and so on. So that's a pretty fun feature. I do quite like that. It does not show on the back of the box that feature, of combining all of the Junkions, but maybe it'll be in the instructions. I don't know. Or maybe we had to come up with it on our own. I really don't know. But it is still available. All of these figures are still available. And I guess that's pretty much all I'm going to say on the Voyagers. Now, quickly getting into the Deluxes, because as I said before, I do already have all of them. I'd say of the Deluxes, Bombshell is definitely the best. I'm probably going to spend the least amount of time on him because my review is coming out soon, so I really don't want to spoil everything. Overall, I think he's a really good figure, probably my favorite of the Insecticons. It's really a matter of preference because I just love his design. I think they did a really good job with this figure. My only complaint for the figure in the robot mode is, unfortunately, the tolerances where the bicep are is a bit loose. They could be a bit tighter, but of course, that's really just my copy. It could be completely different for your guys' copy. His accessories, he does come with one silver blaster and two identical blasters, which can form his Evo Fusion gimmick, which I think is pretty cool. Definitely not the most creative of the Evo Fusion gimmicks, but still pretty fun. Articulation, I think, is pretty average for a deluxe class figure. It's, I would say it's not really an improvement or, I guess, worse than the past Insecticons. So if you do have Shrapnel or Kickback, you pretty much know what to expect here. His transformation is actually very fun and simple, quite similar to Shrapnel, where the legs and arms are concerned. So if you do have Shrapnel, you'll probably get down the transformation pretty easy. I barely even need to use the instructions for this figure, which could be considered as a bad thing or a good thing, depending how you look at it. As for the bug mode, it's actually pretty fun. There's very little articulation. It's kind of like a solid brick, which that's pretty much how Shrapnel was, so no surprise there, but a very fun figure. Probably my favorite Deluxes of all four. As for Shadow Striker, I've only transformed her like once so far, but actually a very fun figure. Definitely very interesting. She actually has quite a bit of kibble. She is a more stylized version of the Cyberverse Shadow Striker, very different from the design or the figure you would expect, when thinking of that character. But I do like the kind of cybernetic eyes she has, kind of a mismatched design. She does have a bit of a backpack. She also does have that kind of car shield thing, which probably is considered parts forming, but that's never really bothered me. She also does have a blaster, and she also does have the entire kind of back car piece, which it can kind of form like a shield or like a form guard, which I never really understood why that's an accessory. I really think they should have just kept that as a permanent part of the figure, because I don't think I'm ever going to use it. You can attach it to her arm, but it really just seems weird because the top of the car also forms a shield, so you really don't need two shields, and one of them doesn't look that good, so that seemed a bit odd to me. As for Detrius, I actually really like him. Yes, he is a repaint retool of the Siege Hound somewhat. He is also kind of a repaint of a soon-to-be revealed, I'm assuming, 86 Buzzworthy Bumblebee Hound. So it's in a way kind of complicated and complex of which mold came first, because a while ago, I think almost over a year ago, we actually had a reveal or kind of leak of an 86 Hound using this mold with the same accessories. And I think the head sculpt might be different, but that one hasn't come out yet, so I'm not really sure what was supposed to be revealed first, Detrius or Hound. I'm not really sure what is the repaint of the other. I guess you could say either way. But even though we don't have that Hound yet, it is still taking some pieces, like the shoulders and the arms, and some of the chest is actually taken from that Siege one. So Detrius is kind of a merge of two different characters, or two different molds. The Siege one and the 86 Buzzworthy Bowie one, which is a bit interesting. And I actually think he's probably my second favorite of the deluxes. As for Strongarm, this is actually our first Robots in Disguise 2015 character, which is pretty exciting. Unfortunately, I do have a few QC problems on mine. I'm probably going to buy another version because I was a bit disappointed. Unfortunately, when I actually took it out of the package, one of the pins actually fell out. I have been able to actually keep it in the figure for now, but it keeps falling out, so I probably will get a new figure or try and get like a replacement. I might actually talk to Hasbro about that, but I don't really want to discourage. I don't want to discourage you from getting this figure because it's actually a very solid figure. Definitely resembles Strongarm. I do have to say it's a bit clunky and chunky, like posing wise and articulation wise. It's hard because there's a lot of panels, a lot of stuff on her back. She has really big shoulders, so I wouldn't say the most streamlined, easy to pose figure of the bunch. But again, she is very accurate to her appearance in Robots in Disguise. Her head sculpt looks really good. I do love the pistol. I think there's definitely a missed opportunity not including a Decepticon Hunter. I do know, she uses that kind of somewhat, pistol, like police pistol. That's pretty cool, but a Decepticon Hunter would have been really cool. Would have pushed that over the top. Considering this is a repaint retool of a pre-existing figure, I think they probably could have given us a second accessory. Technically, she does come with two accessories, that little light bar, police siren piece, which I really don't count that as an accessory because when are you actually gonna want to remove that? So it is probably my least favorite of the deluxes, but still one I do recommend. I do hope for, if you purchase this figure, whenever you get it, hopefully it's not like a widespread thing with the whole pin thing. I don't know. I really don't know. Why that happened. It just fell out randomly. Maybe it was just a fluke, or it could be on a widespread scale. I really don't know. But that, I think, is pretty much it for the deluxes. Overall, I really didn't want to talk about them that much because, I do have them in hand and the reviews are coming soon. All of them are priced at $25, and of course the release dates are October 1st, but most likely it will be earlier considering, I do have them in hand right now. So I'm thinking probably September. Most likely they will change. I could be wrong. It just seems like, since I have them in hand, it just seems like they would change. But moving into the leader, we do have Dreadwing, which actually looks so cool. I purchased this figure. Definitely not, the most interesting of the leaders we've had this year. He is just a repaint of Skyquake, which I've always just loved Dreadwing's design, his deco over Skyquake, because blue is my favorite color, so that probably is the gist of it. But the same accessories. There is some slight new tooling with the blaster. His barrel is actually more of a singular cannon. Skyquake was more like multiple barrels, multiple, kind of like a Gatling gun, so that's slightly different there. But the sword is the same, just done in transparent red this time. And the figure itself is the same, no new molding, of course, just done in kind of a silver, gunmetal gray, dark blue color tone. And the price is $55. The release date is October 1st. It is still available. I 100% day one purchased this because usually leaders are like the biggest pain in the butt to get. Even when it comes to repaints, it's weird. Even when it comes to repaints, I have the worst luck with getting leaders, so I at day one immediately purchase them, because if I don't, it's so hard to track them down later. I don't know why. Maybe it's just bad luck. I really don't know. What is interesting, I do have to say the packaging is a bit odd. I think they probably should have reversed the packaging with Dreadwing and Skyquake, because Skyquake has on his packaging, he is holding his sword, which, if you do remember from Prime, Skyquake never had a sword. He only used his cannon. And on Dreadwing's packaging, he's using this giant cannon, which, yes, in Prime, Dreadwing used a sword and a cannon, but I think mostly he used the sword the most time. So I think they probably should have switched the packaging, where Skyquake had his Gatling gun on the front packaging and Dreadwing had his sword. That just seems like it makes the most sense to me. I was confused by that. Of course, people probably don't care on the packaging as much as I do. It just seemed a bit odd. I wonder if people will catch that in the reviews, because it just seems like it doesn't make sense to me. But the packaging art does look really cool. I do love the huge image of him, and of course his ship is in the back. And it doesn't show the side of the box, but the back of the box he transforms in 29 steps. And it does show his Evo Fusion gimmick, which is the same as Skyquake. You know, you can actually kind of use the sword as like ammo for the weapon, which is pretty cool. I actually quite like that. And yeah, it's a solid figure. I did have a couple problems with Skyquake. No real QC problems, pretty much just like the mold itself problems, which I'm expecting to have the same with this figure. The shoulders don't tab in like in any way, which really puzzled me and confused me, considering this is a leader class scale, you know, pretty much the most expensive of the mainline scale, you know, besides Commander class and Titan, but those are only one a year. We get multiple leaders a year, so it really just confused me why the arms and shoulders don't really tab into place in the robot mode. They pretty much do say if you do put the shoulder pads over them, I guess that's what they're relying on, but it just seems a bit cheap and like amateur to me. I really never understood that. I highly doubt they're going to change it with this. I'm expecting it to be the same. Again, not really, I would say, a QC problem, like something's broken or loose joints. Really just that's how they made the figure, which I personally don't understand. But that being said, it is a really good figure and definitely resembles his prime appearance. But now for the last figure, we actually do have the core class. We have Snarl, again a figure we've known about, but I did want to quickly discuss. This is actually the last figure we need for the Volcanicus combiner, which I also did purchase. It actually looks really cool. Probably gonna be one of my favorite of the core class Dinobots. Swoop right now, he's at the top, but this could change it. He does come with a sword, which is really nice. I do love the huge spikes at the shoulders, you know, and all the silver is really cool. I do love his dinosaur mode with all the spikes in the back. It looks pretty cute and fun. The release date is October 1st, and of course the price is $12. I do have a complaint as to the combined mode, because he does have a lot of gold on him, which is nice, but whenever he's in his combined mode for his leg, there's this huge square of gold, and pretty much none of the other figures really have that amount of gold, so he does kind of stick out like a sore thumb. So maybe he could have, you know, changed the color scheme a tad bit. You know, I know they're not going to change the classic G1 color scheme of Snarl, you know, they can't do that, it needs to be accurate. But maybe he could have formed like an arm instead, and the gold wouldn't be as obvious, because I've seen the combiner, you know, through video and in hand occasionally. Some of my friends actually have some early copies of it, and it just seems a bit odd. It seems out of place, because none of the other figures, none of the other core classes really have that much gold. So they probably could have done that a little bit better, but to be honest, I'm probably not even going to display these figures in the combined form. I'm probably going to display them in their separate forms, so definitely not the biggest complaint. But yeah, that is pretty much it. A lot to discuss. A lot more than I was expecting for today. I was actually expecting them to do a whole, you know, fan stream or live stream to officially reveal, you know, Legacy Evolution 4, but they just dropped them immediately. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because they did do the whole pipeline thing, you know, and I actually think they showed them off at Santa Comic-Con. So there's been several events where they've actually shown them. So in a way, I somewhat do understand. I do think most likely the reason why they're doing this, the reason why they're posting these is because they don't want to post them at Hasbro PulseCon. I actually did do a video recently having a theory that they were going to post these at Hasbro PulseCon, but that option has been taken out. So I guess now we can pretty much officially confirm we will be getting the next wave or line of that next part of this trilogy. I don't think there's any plans for a Legacy Evolution Wave 5, so I think they're just going to move straight into that Legacy Uni. That's what we actually have the abbreviation of so far. I think it's probably going to be called like Legacy Universe or something like that. That's just my guess. So most likely at Hasbro PulseCon, which is September 22nd, we'll probably get that PulseCon exclusive of Hot Shots. We might get that HasLab, and we'll probably get the next wave of, you know, whatever that new line is going to be called. I'm really hoping we actually see that Prime Thundertron. We're going to be getting a Thundertron. I guess you guys can guess why I'm excited for that. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be Wave 1, but it's supposed to be in the Voyager class scale. I would absolutely love and be so ecstatic if it was Wave 1, but we really don't know the layout of the waves just yet. But really, you know, September 22nd is not that far. That is less than 2 months away, so I am definitely ready for that. But I do hope you enjoyed this segment. It is definitely one of the longer ones, but of course there was a lot to discuss in this segment. I hope you enjoyed. Of course, leave all your thoughts on these figures in the comment section down below. And of course, now that we actually have Wave 4 out here, what do you think we'll see at PulseCon? And what do you hope to see and what will you be picking up? And that's pretty much it, so I'll see you next time.